Good morning, dear students and teacher. I am Gulshod Nazarova, your English teacher. Our new topic is unintended consequences. Let's discuss the topic. Technology provides solutions for many types of social, political, and economic needs. Intended benefits is a positive purpose for which a technology is designed to be used. Unintended consequences are uses or results the engineers don't purposely include in the design of products. Unintended consequences is usually harmful but can also be beneficial. The intended benefits and unintended consequences for each technology. Aspirin. Intended benefits of aspirin, pain reliever. Unintended consequence of aspirin prevents heart attacks and reduces the severity of strokes. Cause ulcers with long-term use. Cars. Intended benefits of cars: faster transportation. Unintended consequence of cars: air pollution. DDT pesticides. Intended benefits of them: kill insects and other plant pests. Unintended consequence interfering with the reproduction in birds and killed them, helped put bald eagles on the endangered specific lists. It is time for practice. Look at the following photos and try to guess a general message. I'll give you 4 minutes for doing this task. Think and write some inventions or discoveries of humanity in history which brought unintended consequences. The first one is given for you. The second is plants and factories. The unintended consequences are air and water pollution. The third one is the opium for medicine. Unintended consequence: drug addiction, narcomania. The fourth, satellite spacecraft. The unintended consequences: destruction of ozone layer and appearance of ozone hole. Now our next exercises match the word 1 to 13 with the appropriate definitions. Aim to A to M. The first one is to harm, the second is to alter, the third to exploit. The fourth, harvest. The fifth, a sparrow. The sixth, to launch. The seventh, exhaustion. The eighth, extinct. The ninth, starvation. The 10th, to swarm. The 11th, a yield. The 12th, to consume. And the last one is to curb. I'll give you 2 minutes for doing this task. Let's check right answer. The first is F. The second is J. The third is M. The fourth is B. The fifth K. The sixth A. The seventh L. The eighth E. The ninth D. The 10th I. The 11th H. The 12th C. And the last one G. I'll repeat once more. The first is F, the second is J, the third is M, the fourth is B, the fifth is K, the sixth I, the seventh L, the eighth E, the ninth D, the 10th I, the 11th H, the 12th C, the last one is G. It's time for listening task. You will listen to the audio twice. Listen to the tape and fill in the blanks with appropriate words and phrases. Listen attentively and do this task. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Consequences. Good morning, dear listeners. Today again we are in the radio program. When people want to have more change in their lives by a wish to make it happier, they try to experiment something extraordinary or even incorrect, unnatural, which may sometimes bring to different disasters. Those issues can be done by not wanting to damage nature or social structure, but anyway, those faults may harm some spheres in life, society. Not being aware of negative, harmful consequences, they can change a lot of things to worse. Today we are going to speak about a terrible event when a human being's interruption in environmental issue altered the whole ecosystem of the region. People think that nature should be fully exploited by humans for production purposes. But the story to be told today, we hope, will be a lesson for what can happen when changes are made to an ecosystem. We invited Mrs. Park Lee, a professor in history at the Chinese State University of Diplomacy. Good morning, Mrs. Lee.
Good morning.
Mrs. Lee, would you like to tell the whole tragic story happened in China to our listeners?
Oh, sure. Just now, let me remember. It was in 1957. No. It was in 1958 the Chinese farmers had less harvest than it was expected. They reasoned that sparrows ate grain seeds. The country was particularly suffering from sparrow. Chinese scientists calculated that each sparrow consumed 4.5 kilograms of grain annually.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, that meant every million sparrows were eating food which could feed 60,000 people. On hearing that information, Chinese leader Mao Zedong ordered the extermination of sparrows. This was a shockingly irresponsible idea for the ecosystem, you know. He didn't want to discuss his plan or listen to experts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was awful. Mao launched the Great Sparrow Campaign to solve the problem. To accomplish this task, Chinese citizens were mobilized in massive numbers to eradicate the birds by forcing them to fly until they fell from exhaustion. On December 13, yes, it was that the day, the tragic day, from the early morning, the birds were terrorized by Chinese people who took to the streets clenching their pots and pans or beating drums to prevent them from landing.
Oh.
Nests were torn down, eggs were broken, chicks killed, and sparrows were shot down from the sky. By 8 p.m. of that night, it was estimated that a total of about 200,000 sparrows were killed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, as a result of these efforts, the sparrow became nearly extinct in China. And that's when the problem started. A large type of grasshopper, mainly tropical called locust populations occurred. They swarmed the countryside as there were no sparrows in sight. And without the sparrows to curb the insect population, the crop's productivity reduced drastically in a way far worse than if birds had been allowed to hang around. Consequently, agricultural yields that year were disastrously low. Rice production in particular was hit the hardest.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, you know, by April of 1960, it started to become painfully obvious to the Chinese leaders that the sparrows, in addition to eating grains, ate insects. On the advice of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Mao declared full stop to the Great Sparrow Campaign. But it was very late. The damage was done and the situation got progressively worse. The overflow of insects, plus the added effect of widespread deforestation and misuse of poisons, were a significant contributor to the Great Chinese Famine. In 1958, I think, till 1961, in which an estimated, can you imagine, 30 million people died of starvation.
Oh.
Things got so bad that the Chinese government started importing sparrows from other countries.
Oh, from your story, we can see that human disturbed into environmental issues brought so many disasters. It brought tragic unintended consequences to the whole country. Humanity did a lot of mistakes in past, but they should serve us as a good lesson. Thank you for your attention.
Listening to.
Let's
We're going to listen
check the right answer. A. Satisfied. B. 4:30. C. Extermination. D. Anti-sparrow war. E. Terminating. F. To prevent. G. Extinction. H. Locust. I. Insect. I'll repeat once more. A. Satisfied. B. 4.5. C. Extermination. D. Anti-sparrow war. E. Terminating. F. To prevent. J. Extinction. H. Locust. I. Insect. Our next task is match the sentence 1 to 4 and the paragraphs I to D. As is a disease or whatever it is spreads, rented bees also went up. The second, every idea should be checked 7 times before implementing it, and the phrase just do it must not be used with nature. The third is, but it was provided that overriding the natural issues brought other fatal consequences which cannot be only called natural one. The fourth, here are some examples of environmental collapses done by humanity. I'll give 10 minutes for doing this task. The first paragraph is C, the second paragraph is D, the third paragraph is B, the fourth A. The first paragraph C, the second paragraph is D, the third paragraph is B, the last one is A. It's time for discussion. Discuss the following question. Share the results with the whole group. Can you remember any other human deeds which brought to traffic but unintended consequences? The second question is, what other future human fault is likely to happen? The last question is, what consequences it may cause? Your home task in the next time will be think about famous inventions of the humankind, tell whom they were invented by and what were their unintended consequences. Thank you for your attention and participation. Goodbye.